Now, another topic that's on everyone's mind is North Korea. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to North Korea, and a whole lot of fear that is a little bit misplaced. Now, we've all heard about their recent missile test that succeeded, and they claim it could carry a nuke to Alaska or Hawaii, which has gotten a lot of people panicked. Now,
I think
yeah,
Hawaii is a particular focus because we definitely have at least one military base in Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, and Pearl Harbor happened there,
Yeah,
which some history, but
just a
well,
little bit.
yeah, just a little
Mhm.
bit. Another thing is with North Korea, we are how obviously this administration's handling it differently than previous administrations, so it's the chances of war are actually a lot higher than they used to be. But that said, there's some a lot of people don't really get what's going on. At surface glance, no one would get what's going on. It takes a whole lot of reading. And what I would suggest, what I did to try to get a little bit of a better understanding, is actually look into interviews with South Koreans. Look at foreign media from people in the area, how they're taking it. South Korea, for instance, the U.S. news, you don't hear this much. They kind of make it sound like this is all pointed at the U.S. But North Korea actually always does this when South Korea is having elections. They always ramp up tensions because their main focus is South Korea. In all honesty, they want reunification is one of their main things. But also, they are a lot of the reason I think it's carried on and gotten more extreme is in response to the U.S. because that's just how North Korea reacts. Their
And we
one card they have is their nukes
and we have a base in South Korea, and we provide troops to them,
and
and
do
we
war
just
games simulating the bombing of North Korea, which, again, you got to take in mind the history. We actually did during the Korean War destroy the entire country. There were pilots, and you could look this up. There were pilots, fighter pilots, complaining that they couldn't find anything left higher than one story to drop a bomb on. We literally decimated the country.
that's unbelievable.
So
That's
while for us it's them attacking the U.S. is just some far off hypothetical, and they make their like little animated thing of blowing up the White House. We literally destroyed their entire country that they're just building back from. So for them, a war game simulating that isn't. It's not far from reality. It's what would happen if we went to war,
Yeah, and if you had
and
your
they know it.
if you had your whole country destroyed during a war, and to make matters worse, North Korea is basically cut off from the entire world economically, besides for like a handful of countries, if that. Like how?
China is, I think, one of the only ones.
Yeah, exactly. But how would you react to that? You would have your last resort would be that you have to build up your fucking forces. What else are you gonna
And
do? You have no economy. You have no relations with any other country. It's the only way to
and
defend
yeah,
yourself.
well, in all honesty,
And that's why we do it too. Like,
in all honesty, their reason for it's painted a lot that Kim Jong Un is crazy, which he's brutal. He's an awful fucking person, but I don't think he's
he
crazy.
might be crazy.
I you know what I don't
Depends what you mean by crazy, I guess.
well irrational would be what I mean by crazy. I don't think so because one if he wanted to start a war he could have already. He knows how it would go. Anyone with any rationality would know how that war will end. His country is around the size of New Jersey. We have bombs that could almost decimate that entire area with
We
one
live in
hit.
New Jersey, by the way.
Yes, but so far, their official reason for wanting nukes is to protect from a U.S. invasion. Now, for most people sitting there, oh, that's a ridiculous propaganda thing. But again, we have invaded there, the Korean War, and he did point out something. Well, not him, one of the spokesperson did point out something that can't really argue with it. Nukes are one of the only things that deters a U.S. invasion. He mentioned, remember Bush's axis of evil? When Bush, after the 9/11 attacks, he listed North Korea, I believe Iran, like a couple countries is the axis of evil. Like,
Actually no, never heard of
all
it.
right, well, look up if you don't know that. Look up the axis of evil, and every country on that list has been invaded.
That's
Iraq,
funny 'cause
um, Iraq now Syria, we're bombing.
not
North,
Iran yet, not Iran yet, but
no,
that
not
is the
Iran
end goal.
yet. That is the end goal, and also because we're scared. They don't have nukes yet, but they're getting there. But North Korea's whole reason for wanting nukes, and they say they don't want war. They do not want to start a war with anyone. They just want they want to make sure that the U.S. can't invade them. And in reality, they do. It's not an unfounded fear, because we are actually. Do you know we're actually still at war with them officially?
What with North Korea?
Yes. There's never been a peace treaty between North and South Korea. It's just basically a ceasefire at the moment.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I feel like most people don't know that, but yeah, no, that's really interesting. I was surprised. I didn't know. I was surprised when I found out.
But it just comes back to the thing we said with Russia. Like, do we really want to go to war with another country where it could potentially kill millions of people?
Not potential. It will. It's
like nuclear war.
It's nuclear.
Maybe
war.
with Russia, the possibility of nuclear war would be far off. But with North Korea,
it's getting
literally their only
more
option.
Likely. And the thing is, I mean, here's what a lot of people got to consider. I completely understand. Kim Jong-un's brutal to his people. He's a dictator. Not being a fan of him, and there is that natural reaction when you hear about someone causing their whole country to suffer, that you'd want to do something about it. And then especially when he's making threats to your country. And a lot of people, we need to react. Can't be weak.
Do you think people actually care about the North Korean people? Like, I'm talking about our country. Do you think people actually care, or do they want to do it just because they feel like we feel threatened?
Well, I think it's a mix. I think there's some people who generally, they don't even claim to give a shit about the North Korean people.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Again, a lot of different people.
I feel like people are just like, whenever there's a country that like tries to, I don't know, fuck with us or like do anything like that to provoke us, threaten us, it's all about, let's show them our fucking American strength.
And that's a little side point. In my opinion, that's a very big sign of weakness. Part of being a powerful country is North Korea is not really a threat. Their missiles, they could possibly reach to a first stage. We will most likely intercept them in the process. And to make it like their existential threat to us is silly. For us to be an existential threat to them is the reality
Definitely
of the situation. But that said, if you want to, for the people, there are a lot of people who say we need to get involved a lot of times where we get involved, people say it's because we need to give them democracy, we need to set those people free. Kim Jong-un, if anyone's going to survive us attacking North Korea, it's going to be him and his regime. They're going to be in bunkers. It is going to be the innocent people that they have brainwashed and fucking basically slaves that are going to die for his fucking idiotic moves. Now, and I completely know and understand the sentiment that, yes, like a country gotta react, but in this situation, and the people were saying that we shouldn't talk to them, which I think is friggin' ridiculous. Alright, if our only two options here are nuclear war or diplomacy, diplomacy, even if that diplomacy means calming down and being the adult in the situation, like, alright, let's calm down.
But we should be the adult.
Exactly.
That's what we're the most powerful country in the world. We should be the adult. We shouldn't have to.
We don't need to project. Everyone knows how powerful the U.S. is. I don't think there is any other country on earth that isn't fucking well aware of that. We don't need to keep proving it. To do that makes us look silly, and especially doing that will result in it'll be a catastrophe. Is winning a dick measuring contest with Kim Jong-un worth losing millions of innocent lives, men, women, children? Whenever anyone, and rightfully so, sees the pictures of the aftermath of any of these wars, we're all disgusted.
Exactly.
With the dead kids, all of that.
Exactly. You see the images, you think
people.
You think at the end of the day, when you see the images of us like potentially bombing North Korea, you think you're going to be happy with that? You're not going to be happy.
Well, it seems like people are happy. Like, for instance, the news coverage when they were launching the cruise missiles at Syria. When you see
actual people, when you see
what
people
those did, what the result of it is.
Exactly. Forget just launching the missiles.
This isn't a video game. This isn't a movie. When you see the real life implications of it and all the people suffering who, in reality, those people aren't that different than you, me, or any of us. They're fucking people. Yes, we're propagandized, and yes, we are propagandized to think of them in a certain way. North Korea specifically is brainwashed crazy people, which, look at any interview, which the channel Asian Boss actually just did a really cool segment where they interview North Korean defectors, ask them about their opinion of Americans. They actually even bring them, not to America, to a renowned restaurant in South Korea to taste American barbecue. And you listen to these people, and they're people just like you and me. They speak a different language, they grew up in a different culture. But after listening to that, I will be surprised anyone who would be happy about them getting attacked. And when you hear their stories, and you hear how their country is, it is a shame what the lives these people are forced to live, but we are not going to make it better by bombing them. by blowing them all up. And when the dickhead who has caused all of that suffering is probably going to get away by going in a bunker. It's it's just not
Not rational.
no, not rational. It's just not like it's the wrong thing to do on multiple levels. Wrong, and it's stupid. It'll hurt relations with China and hurt China directly. A nuclear war right next to them is definitely something no fucking country would want. It'll destabilize the region, and all it's going to result in is millions of unnecessary deaths. It's what good's going to come of it? All right, we got rid of Kim Jong Un, if even. It's not going to improve, especially it's not going to improve our situation back home, which one of the big things with this administration was putting America first. I don't know how attacking Korea will do
And
that.
sending more American troops into other countries that we have had troops out of for 2 decades.
Yes,
I'm referencing Somalia, but that's for another time.
yes. I think we're involved in enough wars at the moment. We don't need to keep adding to the portfolio.
Well
But
said.
all that said, let's just really hope that rationality prevails, and instead, I actually do hope that Kim Jong Un and Trump wind up actually talking, because this notion that it'll disgrace the president to talk with someone like that's nonsense. Unless you want to have the policies of a third grade girl, like we're just not gonna talk to her. Like it's things get solved through discussion. Nothing's going to get solved by not talking to each other and just getting our heads further up our ass in the sense of our own rhetoric and then doing the same. It's time to try to solve these issues literally, not just
and grow up.
fucking have a dick measuring yelling contest and ton of saber rattling. As Bobby said, I think sums it up beautifully. Grow up.